what are you going to find when you get there? I wanted this to be a destination network, one that you can turn on in the morning, leave on all day long, and not be concerned that your children are going to come in and see something that you don't want them to see. This is a family-based network that's got core values that I hold near and dear, that I think you will hold near and dear too. Here's a look at, this is just a promo, but it gives you a look at what Merritt Street is all about. Take a look.
Can you feel it? It's rising up now.
We are building something new for you.
Come on now.
This is something you're going to be part of. This is not my network. This is our network.
From head to toe, got it going on, got it all. Setting all the trends, keep up, no renaissance.
You're giving people usable information that can change their lives. How can that not work? And that's exactly what I'm going to do all over again. Using common sense to find common ground.
So, join our Merritt Street family.
We're rethinking the way news is covered.
We just returned from the Texas-Mexico border. Dr. Phil was down there with me, and you won't believe what we saw down there.
News you can actually use.
We want to add full context and perspective to every story we tell.
Everybody does what, but we do why.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning on Merritt Street.
We've got your top stories every single morning right here. This is news you will actually enjoy.
Because news does not have to be boring. Where news meets lifestyle. Join us for a show that's going to keep you informed, entertained, and so much more.
Get ready to be hooked on not just news, but lifestyle and every single moment. That is so much fun.
1, 2, 3.
Welcome to Dr. Phil Primetime. I'm standing at the border between Mexico and the United States. How under any theory is that okay? You're going to save lives by what you're doing right now, this minute. You're surrounded by people who do care about you.
Hey, folks, my motto is I'm going to be fly to the day I die.
Take some notes and watch me.
Let's do a little fact check.
Watch me. The energy. Watch me.
I'm McGraw.
Watch me.
I'm Bear Grylls.
Watch me.
Please welcome to Merritt Street, Chris Harrison and Lauren Zima.
Got the energy. Watch me. Got the energy. Watch me.
You don't want to miss out. You want to be part of building something that we are excited about. It's all on Merritt Street. Come hang out on our street. Now that was pretty cool, don't you think? And we have 4 hours of news every day. We've got news in the mornings, and we got news in the evenings. Morning on Merritt Street with Dominique Soxy and Fanchon Stinger. Really great journalists, and they're more fun than you can shake a stick at as well. I'll give you a sneak peek at what you can expect to find with them. So take a look at this.
Time is such a valuable thing, especially in the morning.
And how you spend those first few hours can set the tone for your entire day.
At Merritt Street, we're building a new morning show where our guiding principle is to always value your time.
We'd love for you to join us. Be part of our community. Based in Texas, we are literally right in the middle of everything.
Each morning will be packed full of news, information, advice, and a lot of fun.
And we promise we'll never waste your time.
I'm Dominique Soxa.
I'm Fanchon Stinger. Join us for Morning on Merritt Street.
Weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central.
On Merritt Street.
New, essential television.
In the evenings, we've got news on Merritt Street, and our key anchors there are Chris Gutierrez, Lonnie Coombs, and Lindsay Keith. Chris is a seasoned journalist, and Lonnie you've seen on my show for many, many years. She's a former prosecutor in the DA's office in LA. So she's serious about getting it right. Take a look.
The first page of a book never tells the full story. And those news alerts and headlines, like the ones we get on our phones, don't even scratch the surface of what the story is really all about. Stories are like people, multi-layered and complex. It takes some digging to find the truth, but when we find it, it can change our world. We like to dig. The news on Merritt Street. Essential television.
As you can see, there's been a lot going on, and we've got a great news department, great physical plant here. We think the anchor of everything here is Dr. Phil Primetime. I wanted to be on in primetime so I can talk to men, moms, everybody. I've been talking to people in daytime, but I wanted to talk to people that are home in the evening, so I have a broader target base that I can discuss all of these key issues with. So it's now Dr. Phil Primetime. And just to give you an idea of what we're working on, here's a little trailer that gives you a sense about what we're working on content-wise. I think you'll see we're digging in and we're getting real. Take a look. You're giving people usable information that can change their lives. How can that not work? And that's exactly what I'm going to do all over again. Welcome to Dr. Phil Primetime.
Smugglers cut through the border wall to sneak in migrants to the United States.
I'm standing at the border between Mexico and the United States. How under any theory is that okay for us to be spending tax dollars to traffic children?
Doctors are acting like they're God.
What she witnessed there was so morally and medically appalling that she had no choice but to expose what was really going on.
I submit and I serve my husband.
You said you submit to your husband.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm not trying to start trouble.
Sextortion killed my son.
From the time Gavin was contacted by his sextortionist till he took his own life was how long?
1 hour and 40 minutes.
1 hour and 40 minutes. That's how deadly a game we're playing here. The video of her student assault has been viewed a reported 67 million times.
No one's called me.
Can you see this on camera? That is enough to kill everybody in this audience ×2. You're going to save lives by what you're doing right now, this minute. What's your greatest fear?
My greatest fear was to get blackmailed.
You're surrounded by people who care about you, who will fight for you. You know what his greatest fear should be? Is you being here. Well, you can see from that trailer for Dr. Phil Primetime that, as I say, we're digging in and getting into the things that I think are just really what's happening within families, whether you're worried about your situation, your children, your grandchildren, or whatever. I think family in America is under attack. I think some of it is intentional by what I call tyranny of the fringe, these fringe activists that are pushing narratives on people and trying to rewrite history, biology, science, economics, just making up things, I guess, the way they wish they were. That's not how they are, that's just how they wish they were. Well, you can't do that. I mean, you can do it, you can tell each other that's how it is, but you just don't rewrite hundreds of years of science. You just don't erase history. It is what it is. And that's what I'm focused on. Look, we've been working on this now for a couple of years. I was working on it while I was still on in daytime. I took a year to build this out and work on it. This is one, if you're walking, you might want to look at on YouTube when you get back. When we started taking down our set at Paramount, which had been up for 21 years and was the longest running show in the history of Paramount, which is 105 years old. We did a time-lapse camera So you get to see the whole thing come down. And when we started building the Dr. Phil Primetime set here in Texas, we did a time-lapse camera there so you can see it being built up. So it's fun to kind of watch one where they're tearing it down and then watch the next one where it's going back up. So take a look at these time-lapse cameras, history coming down and history being built back up. And finally, on what was the date that we launched? It was April 2nd, right? We didn't want to go on April Fool's Day. I mean, that was bad karma, right? So we didn't want to do that. So we waited until Tuesday, April 2nd, and then we floated this boat with a very special ribbon cutting. And you're going to recognize some people at this ribbon cutting. First, you're going to see that I couldn't find the ribbon to cut because it had a bunch of flowers and greenery all around it. And I had some big scissors and I was afraid of cutting somebody's fingers off. But you're going to see some major players there because this is really, they call this Dr. Phil's network, but it's really Dr. Phil and Friends, because you're going to see some major players here that have joined me at Merritt Street. Let's take a look at the ribbon cutting first, because I wish you could have all been there, but you weren't. But this was a big day in my life. I'm here to tell you, this was a big day in my life, because you don't get your own network every day. But this was a big day in my life, big day in Robin's life. So pay attention to who's standing around with me, and I'll give you some more information about who all that is in just a second. Take a look.
Welcome to Merritt Street Media.
God bless you, and we celebrate you.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
All right, here we go. Countdown, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. All right. Well, there you have it. I didn't cut anybody's fingers off, and I did get the ribbon cut. And really, this was a really exciting time for me.